Hey, folks, welcome to our latest episode of Football is Life. We are back and we are full strength because we got Wazza back. Love to have you back in, Wazza. It's never the same without you. Happy Friday, boys. And how are we?
1-1, I'll take it.
Yeah, I was going to say, Mike, how are you feeling? How are you feeling after? Yeah, how are you feeling after that? Yeah, we're going to get into that game. Obviously, there was another game, though, that we have to talk about.
Holy.
Yeah.
If that is just the most polarizing set of fixtures I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, how can you go from just the highest of highs to basically yogurt on white rice? Like, Jesus.
I know. I feel, yeah. So, but Mike must be feeling okay, right? Coming out of the Metropolitano with everything being level, taking to the Emirates. You're clearly a better team than them. I think that showed for most of that game.
Most of it. They pressed hard in the second half, though. Holy cow! Like
I don't know why.
They had a lot of chances. Raya was like he kept it 1-1.
Yeah, I think the Arsenal defended well, but yeah, I just don't know they've got enough. They don't look like a team that have enough going forward to really trouble. I think that the worst case scenario it's going to be they could take you to penalties maybe, but we'll see. Anyway, let's start with the other fixture though, Wazza. Right, let's go to the beauty of football. We've been moaning all season about how boring football's become. There's no clash of styles. Everyone plays sideways and backwards. It's the Premier League is now all long throws and corners. And we don't really have this room for creativity. And then what we have PSG against Bayern Munich in the Champions League, 5-4 to PSG in Paris. One of my colleagues was there with his two sons. PSG fan. What a night. They will never forget that night. And this is a game I think everyone was talking about in terms of this is what we've been saying. This is what we're missing. Like, we want more of this, right? So what was Wazza, what was your reaction to that outstanding, maybe one of the greatest semi-finals ever in Champions League football?
I mean, you are referencing the 1-1, right?
Yeah, of course.
No, I don't know. It's like I think that's because knockout football is the greatest piece of entertainment you can have because it's anyone's game. And I just wish that like the Premier League felt a bit more knockout football-y. Obviously it's a league, so it's a massive contradiction, but I don't know. I think what's actually fascinating is the fact that you have so many former Premier League players playing out of their skins and looking like absolute Ballon d'Or contenders here in each of these teams, right? It's fascinating. Like, look at Michel Olise. He's a genuine contender for the Ballon d'Or. From Palace, what was happening? Like, where was this in Palace? Obviously, like when you have a stacked team like Bayern Munich behind you, you're going to do exceptionally well, right? And Luis Diaz looks a whole different player. He looks so consistent. Like, he looks so consistent in what he's doing. Like, his goal right at the end was an absolute worldie. But PSG, Kvaratskhelia, oh my God. Oh my goodness. I can't believe no British club got him. Like, I don't understand how that happened. But like, dear God, that he's on a mission. He's on an absolute mission. But I mean, I think the thing that I walked away looking at that was like, it's unfortunate that this is the semi-final. That is not the semi-final. That can't be the semi-final, because I swear to God, like, it's just too, like, that should be the final. That should be the final game. And I think that's the biggest takeaway for me of like, I wish that the biggest travesty about this year's Champions League has actually been the sort of knockout stages, like how it was so divided of like having such an incredible one side and then the other one being like a warm glass of water. Like, I don't really understand. But I don't know. I'm here for it, though. I'm going to enjoy the semi-finals while I can. I'm going to just crown whoever wins that final tie the winner of the Champions League. I don't need to watch anymore.
There you go. Wazza's paying out already once they get through that one, Mike. What did you make of that game, Mike, if you saw it all?
So I was at my oldest son's graduation at Northeastern. Shout out Huskies. So I was watching the results on my phone and just like, wow, and went back and saw the highlights. What a game! Just from the highlights. Wish I could have seen it live, but I was cheering on my son. And yeah, I agree with Wazza. for sure this is the final. Like, I'm watching that going, even if we get past Atletico, like, it's ridiculous. I mean, anything can happen in one game, but those two teams are obnoxious. They are just absolutely obnoxious, and it's a separate class. 9 goals in one match. I mean, it was fantastic.
Do you know what the amazing thing was, though? I think it's amazing what happens when you actually play forward, right? Isn't it? Imagine that. Imagine
records abandoned.
Imagine having players that their first instinct is to play forward, like I feel like it used to be.
What's that?
Yeah. And I think what happened is that you've got these, like, it was just, I think it's that the defending wasn't even like, you weren't going, oh, this is just like 2 calamitous defenses. It was the level of attacking play was elite. And I mean, like, Harry Kane, like, this is what I said about Harry Kane, as much as, obviously, don't want England to do well at the World Cup. I've always said the same thing about Harry Kane, is that he's not only a goal scorer, he has vision of pass. Like, the pass for Diaz for the fourth goal was, I mean, it's just utter filth. Like, it's outrageous, right? And he did that at Spurs. I remember him when him and Son were playing together. Like, he would drop deep and make those passes that you'd see Wayne Rooney, Paul Scholes, Steven Gerrard, those types of passes. You go, it's unbelievable to watch two teams, like you say, and just going like, yeah, there wasn't. I mean, you can always analyze goals and go, could you have showed them down the line, and there's always things, but I just think it was just like two teams that believe that they're the best teams, that actually, when their attacking players get the ball, they weren't afraid of losing the ball, right? And people that want to play forward, and it's amazing. Like, you show, that's why it's called the beautiful game. That we've somehow managed, and I don't know what's happened. I think it's like, it was like, like with, maybe it starts with Pep and stuff like that, and it's this idea of more methodical possession-based football, and people start adopting the ideas and principles. They don't have as good players, and then you start getting this dilute. And I think you're seeing this year with people going, like, you've heard Arne Slot talking about goals from open play being an issue. Mikel Arteta 2-3 years ago, Arsenal were a free-flowing attacking team that I really enjoy watching, and they've become what we see now, and they're the poster boys now in the Premier League. For this, right? They get overly criticized for that reason. But you do start to go, it's like people are, it's almost like this like everyone's jumped on this bandwagon now, where it's like, it's got to be long throws, it's got to be corners. And it's like, I think what PSG and Bayern proved is, guys, this still worked. Like allowing your attacking players to go and do what they're really good at, and giving them that freedom. Like, yeah, look, you will concede more goals, but nobody wants clean sheets. I know that I think Simeone said, he would have hated it if it was, we've conceded 4 goals, 5 goals, but nobody's paying to watch, like, people scratching their way to, like, a clean sheet. Like, you want to see, the blockbuster saves, the blocks, it's exciting, but what you want to see is attacking players having the freedom to go and create. Right. And I think that's what we saw in spades. So what a game of football.
I think it's great that a few years ago they got rid of the whole notion of away goals matter more, which is why you see some of this, right? Like, because now it doesn't matter if it's 5-4, you don't have to win by 7. You know, that was a smart move to fix that.
Definitely. Well, then we have the other side of the coin, the other half of the draw. We said the diluted half, and then Arsenal were in. Was a very professional first half performance from Arsenal, very controlled. They were the better team. They obviously get the penalty. And the second half, Atletico came back in. Arsenal finished quite strongly. Lots of controversy in terms of both managers' antics, but Simeone's mainly, as well as some of the decisions.
Everything that you can say and hate about Arteta, there is no manager of more shithousery than that asshole.
Well, do you know, Wazza, am I not fair saying, like, is this not a bit of pot kettle? Like,
no, it's not. No, it's not. There are degrees of shithousery.
I think Arteta is just about as bad as, like, in his own way. Is he not, Wazza? I mean,
the qualifier there, in his own way. Simeone is in a league unto his own of being.
He's just got tenure. He's just doing it longer.
Stop it. He's an asshole.
I think that Simeone on the pitch is a complete arsehole. I think that Arteta off the pitch is a complete arsehole. I think that's like, because there is no press conference that I hate more than an Arteta press conference. It's just absolute agony. Like there will be the slimmest glimmer of an excuse that can be plucked out of the sky, and it's like, oh, dry grass, and it'll just be like, I want to just shoot myself in the face.
The grass is too long.
Absolute.
The grass,
and it's like,
yeah, I love Wazza's analysis. Wazza's analysis, 2 assholes. I was like, perfect. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but and don't get me. The thing is, though, you know what? The thing is, the reason that I actually forgive Simeone here is because he's such a lovable villain. Like, you love to hate him. He is a villain that you absolutely like. Whenever you, as a neutral, watch an Atletico match, you always want it to kick off. You always want to see Simeone get a red card. Like, I think that he's like probably got the record number apart from Jose. And like, you want those lovable villains on the sideline. Like, I would love a Simeone Jose Mourinho match. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God, that's going to be like rated 15 before you can even like go ahead and start watching the stream. Like, I don't think kids would be allowed. Like, that's what I want. The thing that I think I get frustrated about Arteta is that he's kind of like a keyboard warrior of managers. Like, he's just there, just sort of like cyberbullying. Like, he's grow up. Like, just get involved. Like, roll up your sleeves and just like be a bit more aggressive. Like, I don't know. I just want to see a bit more from Arteta. Like, he talks about this fire. I never see it. It's more like just sort of a flicker from a lighter. Like, I don't know.
I mean, look. The interesting thing for me is this game. We're talking about antics, and there was no talk of players being great or anything like that. To be honest, it was not. It was compelling in terms of it was tense. It was very intense. Yeah. But what made it compelling was the decisions that were given and weren't given and overturned. And Mike, keen to get your take as an Arsenal fan on what you make, because Mikel Arteta gave his thoughts after the game, and so did Simeone. So yeah, I don't know, what did you make of the controversy around the refereeing and VAR decisions in that game?
Well, so generally speaking, it's a shame every time VAR has to ruin a match, regardless of the match, because they do a great job of that consistently. Unlike Arteta, sorry, non-hot take, Eze sold it well, but it wasn't a foul. It wasn't a penalty for me. Like, if he had stepped on his foot, sure. But the feet came side by side, and Eze sold it very well. I didn't think it was a penalty. So I guess VAR got that right. But yeah, it just, in general, the refereeing and the VARing this year has been painful. So sorry, fans. No hot take. Level-headed Arsenal fan here.
I was gonna come in hot here. I was ready for you, Mike. But I love the fact that you've diffused that situation. Listen, I had a big debate with my mates. One of my Arsenal fan friends is very passionate about it. I said the same thing. I said, look, if this thing about VR depends what you want. If it's clear and obvious, I'm like, you could easily just go with that on-field decision. Like that. I was like, look, that to me doesn't seem like a massively egregious one to go. Like, you could. There is subjectivity.
It could go either way. It could go. There was enough contact that it could have gone either way, but it wasn't. Like I said, the feet came side by side. It wasn't on his foot, and for that reason, I get why they overturned it.
And I think the key is, like, do you want the right decision, or do you want?
No, I want a goal, but
and I think that's a debate. And to me, I agree with you, I'm like, we should not be giving penalties for that, because Eze bought the penalty, right? Now I think the difference with the Gyökeres one, I think Gyökeres bought the penalty. Again, there was more contact there, which kind of made it harder for them to disallow it. But my issue with those ones are, like, the Mikel Arteta, being the buffoon that he is, basically talked about consistency and how it's criminal. And I'm like, well, you didn't watch the PSG Liverpool game then, when Alexis McAllister went down. We were awarded a penalty, he got overturned. And I said that. I was like, same thing, Matt. I said, you know what? It is the right decision. Like, he basically engineered the contact. Like, there's an engineering of contact there, and was like, he was playing for the contact, Eze. He was not trying to go and get the ball there, right? No. Gyökeres, I think,
he was clearly in front, and you could see the hands in the back. That was the difference.
I think, again, I still think there's a little bit, that to me is like on the fence. But the one I will point to is, in that game, Ademola Lookman was through on goal, missed a big check. Like, Ben White fouled him, like 100%. Now, what he did is he didn't go down because the contact wasn't enough. He did the right thing. He then took a shot, and it was a poor shot, right? But to me, this is that just highlights the problem where Lookman being honest and genuinely trying to play the ball, right? And I don't think Gyökeres had to go down there, by the way. There wasn't enough. I think he chose to go down because he knew he'd get a penalty. And that's the thing. Same as that's the thing I want out the game. It's the choosing to go down. But referees have to then be able to look. And that's why I do think VAR could help with the Lookman one and say, did Ben White's challenge impede him? I don't think it did massively, but there was a foul. It was 100% a foul. That was the biggest foul out of all of them. And because he played on and he didn't score the chance. Now you can say, yeah, he still had an equal chance to score a goal. He did. I think that's fine to play on, but I think that's the behavior you want to reward. And I think that's what people get frustrated with. Now we're getting fixated and clear and obvious. Really, it's about and I think American sports do this quite well. Like, we want the right call. We want the right decision, right? And I do think they got to the right decision in the end. I don't know what you think, Wazza, if you saw it.
I mean, I was actually just absolutely still seething from the night before seeing the Alphonso Davies penalty. That's the one actually, over the course of the 2 games that I cannot believe that was given as a penalty. That was absolutely outstanding.
Can I ask you a question?
How does that work?
Question. No. Can I ask? So they've been and Arteta did address this. So he did say, because the one in the Arsenal, the Athletico penalty was a handball, similar. And in the Premier League, they often are not given, right?
Yeah.
So there's an interpretation that's different. In Europe, they have been pretty consistent with this. Now, the challenge, I want to know your opinion, because I think my thing with this is there's 2 ways to do this, right? To me, with handball rule, I don't like what we do in the Premier League. I think it's really, I don't even know if I understand what they're looking at anymore. In Europe, what they've kind of gone with is, look, if it hits your hand and it's outside, like, we're just going to give it. It's a handball, so it's cleaner. Or you go to the other extreme and say, unless the referee or the VAR go, yeah, you've deliberately done something, which is more subjective. So it looks like in Europe they've gone for the simpler interpretation to make it clearer for everyone. This is a penalty, and so it is easier. Are you okay with that, Wazza, or do you still feel you don't like that application of the law?
I just think that there's no common sense involved. Like, it hit his thigh and then it hit his arm that it was behind him. Like, that is like, I was just sat there. I was thinking, like, because I was watching the highlights and I was thinking, oh, there was a penalty given at some point to PSG. Like, I wonder when that's going to happen. Oh, they're showing a highlight of something that must have been, not given as a penalty, and maybe PSG fans were upset about it, but they couldn't be upset about it because this is clearly not a penalty. Oh shit, it's a penalty. It's like, what is happening? Like, this is the thing. I think that the refereeing standards in Europe are so bad. Like, consistently, like every week in the Champions League, there is a howler or like 4. And it's worse because there's so few matches. Like, in the Premier League, at least, like, there are a lot of matches. And over the course of a season, let's be perfectly honest, it balances out. There is no conspiracy theory against Arsenal fans. Fundamentally, though, in the Champions League, it is consistently piss. Like, it's bad. And I don't know how they're going to actually fix this. Like, if they're taking supposedly the quote-unquote best referees from Europe, dear Lord, that bar is low.
Like, do you think there's an argument for it is simpler and better that way, where it's really clear and everyone knows that's going to be given and everyone knows?
So actually, I was glad. I thought that I agree. The Ben White one would not have been a handball in a Premier League match.
Yes.
And so, for a moment, I'm like, oh, they're going to call that back, because that was clearly not intentional. Yes, his hand was away from his body, but
they didn't mean to do it. Yeah.
Exactly. It just, the way that ball bounced, it hit his hand. I thought for sure it was coming back. And then when it was, I'm like, all right, Champions League. So I prefer, like, I don't know if it was 3 or 4, it was like 4 years ago, maybe, when it was just the law was, if the ball hits your hand, it's a handball. And that was just ridiculous. So I think intent matters. And the fact that Europe doesn't call it that way, I think it just, a handball is like, there has to be intent. There has to be intent.
See, I don't know. I'm a bit in the fences. I'll tell you why, right? So, you got the problem at 2 ends of the spectrum, right? So I don't know if you remember the Tottenham Liverpool Champions League final where we got a penalty earlier on, Sadio Mane. And honestly, I don't know this is for sure, but I feel like players will exploit the rules. And Mane was like he knew if you chip that against his, like, there is an element of players, and players can do that, right? They're accurate with the ball, so they're professional. right? They're the best in the world. So I think that's where you kind of go, where I think it did get into a bit of like, yeah, you see, people are going to start just deliberately kicking that, trying to basically chip this up onto your hand so they can get a penalty, right? And I hate that, right? And that's where I think this idea of like deliberacy comes in. I think the challenge for me is like it's like the application is this, you're getting a Wazza is so nuanced. Where, for example, I believe if you're a defender, you're trying to block and you need to put your hands to support yourself or whatever, your hands need to be somewhere. If I hit a shot and it's going goalward and it hits your hand, to me, it feels like that feels like a penalty to me, right? In terms of like, well, you've used a part of your body that's elite that you're not meant to use in the game, that's blocked a shot on target. Whereas like other ones,
the key word there is used.
I know, but you can't. But the problem is you can't prove that. Only I know. So because here's the problem with the other argument, like what you're saying is this. As I said, the problem before was attacking players will take advantage of it and try and cause the ball to hit people's hand or basically play it onto the arm of players to get penalties, right? The flip side, though, defenders will do it. They will go, okay, and that's what you're starting to see now. They're like, I can use my arms, right? As long as I don't do something egregious and deliberate, I can use my arms to make my silhouette bigger by just having them here with my elbows out a little bit, right? And I'm blocking shots that normally I wouldn't be able to block. So I think this is...
You mean like Gabrielle a couple weeks ago?
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. Therein lies the problem. And the problem with intent, it's subjective and it's going to slow the game down because you're going to have to look at it and really analyze it to go, right, does it look like... I actually like... I know it sounds crazy, even though I'm used to what the Premier League do, I actually think it's better in Europe. Do you know why? Because it's more clear. It's like, look, this is going to be given, and it makes it easier. And I just think as long as it's consistent, I actually prefer that. I'm going to put that out there.
I swear if Big Verge had that done to him, you would be going to you would be on an absolute
I wouldn't be.
That is a load of crap, Ross. I know you. I'm sorry, but if that was the case, you'd be like, the intent from Verge is like, I'm sorry, it hit his thigh and then his arm. Why is that given? I'm sorry, but that's any fan from any club should be completely incensed if that penalty is given against them. Like, I would be absolutely seething if the ball hit Ruben Diaz's thigh. His arms were completely back, but then it hit his arm, which is what happened with Little Davies. It's not like it was like he wasn't doing anything. He was literally like turning away. His arms were tucked in. It was just unfortunate that it hit his thigh and then it hit his arm. But the fact that it hit his thigh, like I cannot.
That's like,
and then the thing is that
deflection rule.
Yeah, and the thing is that and Ross, I hear what you're saying, but fundamentally, if the argument is if it hits your arm, it's a penalty. Doesn't matter how it does it, but if it does, then it does it. Then what is the point in VAR? Like, in terms of like doing so many replays, as soon as you might as well go for the cricket approach of like a snickometer of like, has it hit the arm? Cool, right? Like a heat map kind of thing. Yeah. Okay, cool. It hit the arm. Penalty. Done. Finish.
I'm okay with the. You see the thigh. Like, I understand that because that's clear. You go, if it hits another part of your body, then hits your arm. You can say that's not. I'm okay with that, right? But I'm talking about if your arm is outside the silhouette of your body and it hit, that's how. I just think it's so much. It's so because you're saying I complain. I wouldn't. My complaint would be it's the inconsistency. You see, if the night before a different team had got an advantage and it's the same thing happening, that's what's hard. Whereas see if it's the same for everyone, that's always a better option in my opinion. When you go, if you can make it consistent and it seems fair, you just say, look, I don't love the fact that defenders defend with their arms behind their back and all that kind of stuff. I don't like it. I think before maybe it was better before that, in a way where it was like, but then it was like, if it hits your hand, you take that risk. It's like, whereas I think there is an element, if your hand's on the floor, you're planting to go down. I don't think that should be a penalty, right? It doesn't feel like it should be a penalty. But I think the problem is you've got so much interpretation around it that it becomes really hard to get consistency. So
the thing that we haven't really discussed from what you were talking about, Ross, and Wazza, I'd love your take on this, is that are professional athletes really going to aim at arms instead of the net? What the hell is that?
Yeah. Well,
stop it. I'm in the 18. I'm going to aim for his arm, not the goal. Come on.
No. It wasn't that. It was Mane. Watch it back. I'm telling you, people, I think that's what caused the change. Like Mane was like, genuinely, he was like that. I'm going to honestly, that's what players do though. They will exploit the rules. And I'm not saying if they have a shot on goal, they'll shoot. What I'm saying though is if they get in the box one and you're 2 yards in front of me, I can just, it's crosses. I know if I just play this, if your arm's outside your body, I can play it onto your arm and I'll get a penalty. Of course they'll take advantage of that because it's better than crossing the ball in, isn't it? You know you're going to get a penalty. Like, why would you not do that?
I don't know. I just feel like that's a step too far. I'm going to aim for the arm.
I'm telling you. Wazza, what do you think?
I think that's a load of tripe. You are completely wrong here. Like, in what world? It's like, no, that I can see people fishing for a penalty and falling over, but then actually like going, you know what? I'm going to pinpoint this absolute rocket into an arm. The only person that could feasibly target an arm accidentally is Danny Welbeck in his Arsenal prime. That's literally the only person that could manage to do this. Like, no one is targeting an arm. No one.
Thank you, Wazza.
I'm going to send you boys a montage of clips and show you.
Please do. We'll create a reel for that of all the times that professional footballers have aimed for arms instead of the goal.
Yes. And then listen, we'll move on. What about last night? So we did have Aston Villa against Nottingham Forest. So Forest came out with a penalty and a handball again in that one. Luca Dean, but there was a Unai Emery was he was talking about BR, unbelievable. He was fuming about the Elliot Anderson challenge on Ollie Watkins. It was a pretty bad challenge. I don't know if you saw it. It was pretty bad. Like, I have to say, I think he's probably... I'm shocked that, again, in a Premier League game, I'm sure that's a VAR red card decision. It's an ankle snapper. It's one of those ones, like, it meets all the criteria. And, he was fuming. And I actually think fair play, like, that was a shocking decision. I thought it was a terrible challenge. Elliot Anderson was the best player on the pitch, by the way. He was unbelievable, but he probably should have been sent off. Yeah, but it sets up for a good second leg. Villa will be at home. Yes. Okay. Good. Well, let's turn our attention towards Premier League action this weekend, shall we? We do have a number of things, as we know. There's a title race, there's a relegation battle, there's a race for Europe, right? So that's lots and lots and lots of things going on. As we look, we've got Arsenal have wedged in between these two Atletico games, Mike. They're welcoming Fulham, who are in the hunt for European football themselves, to the Emirates. So another home game for them, which is probably welcomed after going out to Madrid. That's tomorrow, 5:30 p.m. UK time kickoff. So that's obviously the big game because Man City don't play till after Arsenal go. I think it's Monday they play against Everton. How are you feeling going into that game? You were quite bullish going into the Newcastle game. It was fucking nervy. And it was like, squeaky bum time.
I was right. They didn't start Saka as well.
You're right. They didn't. And he seems to be he's clearly not quite right.
I think I'll be surprised if he doesn't start Fulham because of the time he got in the previous two matches. So I think they've been kind of planning for that.
Okay.
I mean, I think they'll win. It's home. I think the defense is getting healthier. The midfield is pretty much completely healthy at this point, I think. So like they're almost back to a full squad. Couple of key players that are not there, but overall they're back to a full squad. And I think it's probably so here's the thing, right? It's still about goal differential. So it's going to be very defensive. I think their target's going to be clean sheet more than attack and score a bunch, which I don't love, but I think 2-0 Arsenal is probably about right for that one.
Okay.
There are 40 of, I think the bookies have Arsenal at a 44% chance of a clean sheet, which is ridiculously high. So I think they're going to play with that kind of mindset for sure. So I think it's 2-0.
Okay. Wazza, I've got a feeling you might smell a little banana skin here. No? What do you think?
I don't understand how we have seen literally a week of football where taking risks is often rewarded and often recommended. And the likelihood is that Arsenal will continue to not take risks. I'm fully predicting that this is going to be a Aguero-like season. You know what? Yeah. If Arsenal keep playing pedestrian, trying not to concede, and they they win one goal at a time and everything like that, we're winning the league. No doubt about it. The second that goal difference gap increases, I see the fear in the Arsenal squad rising because they know that then, if City keep hitting those notes, the gap is going to just become too big, and they're not going to actually be able to close it. And like, you have players like Eze. Like, Eze is a Michel Elise kind of player. Like, he's a kind of player that will run at people, make things happen, take risks, and that is how you get your goal differential. Like, it's great that Saka is not playing right now. If anything, I would probably have a front three of like Havertz, Martinelli, and Eze. Like, in the sense that Havertz can actually he has a role, he's doing it well, and then Martinelli actually runs at people and can make things happen. Trossard is a bit, I don't know. Madueke kind of just keeps running until he hits the like row Z. Like, he just will not stop running forward. But like, I just don't get how after the past month of like going in second gear only, Arteta would not try to stretch the team's legs a bit, take some risks, push the goal differential, and put the pressure back on City to take more risks as well. Like, I don't see how he's not using this as a threat.
So I don't disagree. And I think especially given the fact that City did not hang 5 on Burnley last week, like, that left the door open. But you need to score goals. So
yeah, and the thing is, Fulham very well coached under Marco Silva.
Yep.
Defensively, usually quite tough to play against.
And away, you know, they're going to play very,
and they have some guys that can hurt. So I feel this could be, again, it's like everything. Again, you get to halftime and it's 0-0. That stadium is not. Again, there feels like a fragility to the stadium and the atmosphere as well, in terms of like the belief can waver quite quickly, I think. So I don't know. I think that's going to be a fascinating game, because it's the 5:30 kickoff, gives them a little bit more time. There is one eye on that Atletico Madrid game midweek, no matter what people say in terms of team selection. I do think you're right, Mike. I think we'll come at fantasy, but I do believe Saka starts. I think Madueke gets a rest and then maybe plays midweek. I think he'll have to be with some of those guys that are maybe not fully match fit yet. He'll be swapping them in and out. But yeah, look, I mean, it's going to be a fascinating. But I feel like if they can win that game, Arsenal, I feel like the other 3 games, I think it's away, West Ham, Palace. I don't know. Like, part of me thinks, they should win those games, but away from home, I do think that these are derbies. West Ham, it means something to them. Obviously, we'll talk about the relegation battle in a minute. But yeah,
they don't leave London for the rest of their playing.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like it's going to be a fascinating run, and obviously they have Burnley as well.
Yep.
But yes, let's see what happens.
So Ross, you've been itching for me all season, or at least for the past couple of months, to try and be a bit arrogant about like City's chances, because you're like, oh, I'm the Liverpool fan here. I would be, saying that they can win every single match. I think after seeing their pretty lackluster performance against Newcastle, and then their relatively tame performance against Atletico Madrid, and the Atletico Madrid side that they played has conceded, I think, the 3rd most number of goals in the Champions League this year.
Yes. Not a good side. Not a great side.
I'm going to be pretty bullish and say that we've got the league. Like, I cannot, like, if City keep playing how they do, which I think they can, because they're only in one competition right now. Yes, they have like 4 games in 11 days. I don't care. I think we can do it. Ryan Cherky is coming into some sensational form. And when you have a player of his caliber who can just turn a game completely on its side, I don't see how we lose this league. This is ours to lose now.
I love it. Listen, Wazza's finally glass half full, mate. This does not happen very often.
And the thing is, it's spurred on because I see the absolute passive nature of Arsenal, and I'm thinking, right, well, okay, if they're gonna lie down and let us rub their tummies, then sure, let's do it.
Love it. There we go. We'll see what happens. Let's talk about the race for Europe, and we'll get to the relegation battle. So, massive game. So Liverpool go to Old Trafford. You've then got, I think Aston Villa have got Spurs. So I think they'll be seething after that Nottingham Forest game. That's at home. Oh, that'll be an interesting. That's got again, permutations for both the top and the bottom, because if Brighton can win, I think they play Newcastle this weekend. They're going well. They could then put some real pressure on Aston Villa, who are trying to manage obviously the European tournament as well. The Liverpool Man United game, the winner of that feels like is I mean, Man United are pretty much almost secured anyway. I think a draw was okay for them. But if we can win that, I think, or even get a draw, it kind of feels like they're both kind of cemented in that top 5. But yeah, it should be an interesting game.
Yeah, I mean, I think 8 points is a lot with 4 games left to go.
It's a lot.
I mean, that's a lot. I feel like Villa would have to have an epic meltdown to lose that.
Well, honestly, if Villa lose the next 2 games, like then they're in trouble because they play Liverpool as well. So they've I think that's the thing. So there's that. But I think like this weekend to me will determine if anyone else has a chance.
Yeah.
And that will be like, again, because look, it's conceivable Liverpool are not going to be favourites going to Old Trafford for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
And rightly so, shouldn't be. And if Man United win that game, and Aston Villa, Spurs, desperate situation, if they get beat, if that goes down to 5 with 3 games to go, it just the pressure comes in, they play each other. So there could be a spot that opens up there if one of the 2 teams isn't good enough. I think we'll be okay. I'm not like it's not been a great season. I just feel like we'll have enough to get over the line. But I think Villa are showing a bit of like, and again, there is this, and they've got a lot of players, I think, out of form at the moment. I feel like so. Yeah, I can see if anything's going to happen. If they lost to Spurs, I'd be worried about them because their fixtures don't get easier. So yeah, I think that's going to be interesting. And then at the bottom, Spurs, we have to talk about that. So Spurs, they obviously go to Villa, right? We have West Ham this weekend. Who do they play? I saw a minute ago. Let me just double check. Their fixture isn't dreadful, I don't think. Brentford away, actually, yeah, not easy. So they go away to Brentford. Then I think Forest play Monday night. They play Nottingham Forest. They're away to Chelsea.
Away to Chelsea, yep.
So Forest with a tough. Again, well, hard to say what Chelsea will be right now. They obviously got to the FA Cup final. They have to travel there in between the European games. That'll be interesting. You have West Ham with a tough assignment, Brentford team that are in the European places and pushing. But yeah, this feels like a critical weekend. Spurs going to Villa. Are any of the 3 teams favoured in those ties? Maybe Forest. Maybe
Forest will beat Chelsea.
Yeah, I think probably they're in really good form. Depends on who he picks though, and the team he goes with. But I think they've won their last 8 games.
They are on the up, and Chelsea is
on the down. But I think going to Villa is tough. Going to Brentford is tough.
Yeah.
And I think if one of those teams, if Spurs or West Ham, like one wins and the other doesn't, if West Ham win and Spurs don't, and that opens up, it then becomes a long way back for Spurs. So it feels like Spurs have got to get something at Villa to have a chance, I think. I don't know. West Ham. Could you think they get something at Brentford?
No, I think both West Ham and Spurs lose. Maybe West Ham with the draw, maybe, but I think
Wazza fancies it.
Honestly, I think they both lose.
I think West Ham win.
Really?
I love it. Yeah,
I think they win. Because the thing is that when there's a difference between fighting for survival and fighting for aspiration. And I think that teams like West Ham have done it numerous times, where they have been in the drop zone and they have fought that time and time again. Brentford are doing well. Don't get me wrong. They're doing perfectly fine. But I think that that's more of a reflection of how bad the league is around them rather than how well they've been playing. So I wouldn't say that I think that West Ham can pull the win out of the bag.
Okay. Love it.
Make my day if they did.
Mike would be delighted. That's it. A West Ham win and a Arsenal win, you'd be delighted. Yeah, and an Everton win.
That would be the double for me.
Arsenal dropping points. Arsenal drop points.
Yeah. What about Wazza? You feel good about away at Everton? You've got a whole week to prepare. You're feeling the boys will show up and take care of business there?
I think it'll be squeaky. I don't think that it's going to be a huge win. I think this is the one where it's going to be like a 1-0, and then we try and capitalize at home against other teams. I do not they're just such an annoying team. They're just actually deceptively good.
They are.
The only thing that we can hope for is Jordan Pickford to have a brain fart like he did against Arsenal and gift us a couple of goals right at the death. But they are just
is a big deal, though. Their back line is pretty significantly with that.
I would say
Everton are a pain in the ass, but I still think City win.
I would say I think this is, to me, that there is only 2 banana skins. This is one of them. So if City, regardless what Arsenal do, if they beat Everton with that, again, the whole week to prepare, they have to win that game. It then becomes all about that trip to Bournemouth. I think for City, I think that's the only other game, because again, I think they're at home. All the other games are home. I know that I think Villa visit, but again, I expect
it's the end of the season.
I think that'll be fine. So I think that Bournemouth and again, depending on where Bournemouth are, they should still have something to play for in terms of European spots, because it's tight. I think it's that this to me is like is hurdle 1 of 2 for Man City. I think if they win it, Everton, Arsenal fans just start to get really worried, regardless of what they did, unless Arsenal go and do something significant against Fulham. Because I mean, look, the thing is, City with a week to prepare. I mean, they could. It's going to be a fascinating watch. So I'm really looking forward to watching those games. But let's see what happens. It's going to be exciting. Let's talk a bit about fantasy football, Mike. So we've been revealed the final double game week.
Final double game week 36. So thankfully it's only 2 teams and they don't have the crazy Bournemouth scenario that they were talking about, which would have made my head hurt. So Palace and City double in 36.
That's right. Yeah. So City obviously, Palace have Everton at home and then they have City away.
Yeah.
So again, I just feel like wow. And then City have a double game week as well, as you said. So they've got the two home games. So Brentford and Palace coming to the Etihad. So that's a juicy fantasy. I'm loaded up in City forwards, which I feel good about. But you might want to consider making sure you are sufficiently loaded up for that game.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, right? Like Palace, if they weren't playing City, then you might. I think for me, it'll probably just be Daniel Munoz. I think that's it. Like I can't see myself loading up on Crystal Palace for a single double.
I would load
one
up
of them
Palace.
is. And the thing is, you just don't, because they're so focused on the European side of things.
Yes,
he's going to rotate the shit out of that team.
That's
Figuring
what I mean,
out who's going to start is good luck. Good luck. And even if they do, they're going to start one, not both.
Leave it alone, I would say. The only one I would say you could consider for Palace, actually, I think who will play the Premier League games is Strand Larsen over. I think he wants to keep Mateta sharp because he's really important. He's their best striker. I do think that if you needed a sneaky punt on somebody, he could be a good game week punt that for a transfer in. You get 2 games. He's a decent player. But I agree. I'm actually going nowhere near Palace. I'm just loading up on City. I already am, so I feel comfortable going into that. I'm in a good spot. What about the last four weeks of the season again, where people will be in tight leagues, maybe vying for a title, maybe vying for position and bragging rights? Mike, any advice for the last 4 weeks you have in terms of, again, players you like, teams you like, I mean, look, I don't think anyone's got many chips to play now.
I think they're pretty much spent at this point. The only one that's still out there that I'm frustrated that I lit fire to was the triple captain on Gabriel and his second worst performing week of the season, and just brutal, because anyone who still has it, you've got to put it on Haaland for that double in 36. That's the only chip out there. I think that's still.
Could you argue Cherky? Could you do Cherky? Yeah,
maybe.
You put it on Cherky. You put it on Cherky. Cherky is going to be the difference in every single game that we play.
I think the difference. The only reason I say Cherky, Mike, is because Haaland has just not been as potent. He like Bruno Fernandes, he seems to be involved in almost everything. Obviously, Nico O'Reilly's the other one, the obvious one, right? But I think Semenyo's had a great start and has been pretty poor recently, but could explode as well. So I think that there is so I've got Cherky, Semenyo, and Haaland. I'm just because I just think they need to score goals, they need to win games. So I went in on that when the title race reignited, because I'd emptied on them. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be interesting. What about so I'm going to call something out. I think, look, Brighton deserve attention. Their fixtures don't look. They look kind of grey. They go to a struggling Newcastle team. They then are at home against Wolves. They then go to a Leeds team that will be safe at that point and have nothing to play for. And then they finish at home against Man United, who should be home and hosed and on the beach. So Brighton are one that I know a lot of people picked up some players for the free hits. Which is good, but they're playing well. They've got you can look at the defenders, midfield, forwards. There's people to pick up in every position. There's them, and also Man United's fixtures. I know it's Liverpool at home, but a weakened Liverpool team not going so well. They travel to Sunderland, who feel like they're on the beach already. They are at home against Forest, who will maybe be have one eye in a European final, and then they finish away to Brighton, which I don't know what will happen. There could be goals. So, I mean, I know people are in Bruno, but I think that there is an opportunity there. Whether you look at somebody like Cunha, you pick up a defender. So I think they're, in terms of the whole stretch of 4 games, they're the 2 teams that I'm
Casemiro's the one. He's in epic form right now for a 100-year-old footballer.
He sure is. He's certainly showing up the Arsenal midfielders, isn't he? So for lack of goals. But what about captaincy this week? I've just gone with channeling my inner Wazza. I'm captaining Dominic Calvert-Lewin over Erling Haaland this week. hot take, Wazza. What do you think about that? Because Leeds are at home against Burnley, who've just fired their manager. And we just say, au revoir, Scott Parker, by the way, some of the worst fucking clobber. Unforgivable, like, Wazza. I mean, honestly, the cardigan, like, I'm just like, somebody tell him. I don't know who's picking his clothes, but for that alone, you deserve to be sacked, mate. Your team
but have you seen his lid? Like, he has a sensational lid. Like, fantastic.
I don't know. I'm not like, look, he's just a bit of a, I actually really liked him as a player, but my God, as a man, like, again, shite clobber, shite team, shite manager, shite guy. Goodbye, Scott Parker. I don't think he's, look, obviously, good luck in what you do. You should be in the Championship. That's where you belong, and just stay down there, right? Thank you very much, and good night. Yes. But yes, so Scott Parker. But yes, captaincy this week. What do we think?
Look, I'm leading most of my mini leagues, so I have to hedge. So even keel, it's Holland with Bruno as the vice, because I'm protecting. So
was any? I mean, usually something outrageous. God knows what he's going to say.
I want to say Harry Wilson.
Oh, he's been in shocking form since
I don't know, but Dr. Arsenal manages to fix up teams like Bournemouth, who were on like a 3-game losing streak or something like that, and then they visited the Emirates, and I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know, but genuinely speaking, I feel like I think it's just a trap going for anyone chasing for Europe right now. I think that it's more of a, who is going to audition for a bigger club next year? I think we're in that part of the season more than anything. And I think that, strangely enough, I feel like Harry Wilson is exactly the kind of player that Spurs need. And so I feel like if somehow Spurs manage to pull this off, they're still a club with very deep pockets. And we're getting to that part of the season.
I need some help, because, again, I've been going back and forth. I do currently, I did pop Calvert-Lewin ahead of the podcast in my captain temper. It is between him, Bruno. I am tempted, like, Cherky is the one that I don't know what it is. There's just something here that's going, and I know it's Everton away, and Everton are tough to play against, and it might not be a lot of goals. They've had a whole week to prepare. I think, look, Liverpool, our defense and midfield, like, Bruno is involved in everything. I expect him to produce points, as he has almost every game. Calvert-Lewin against Burnley, he's not been scoring that many of late. Like, what do you guys think? Any strong opinion in those three? Where would you lean?
I'd go for Calvert-Lewin. Like, generally speaking, I think out of all the... Yeah, I know, because the thing is, you bullied me out of swapping Calvert-Lewin back in the season. After that, I just sort of gave up on fantasy. But Calvert-Lewin against a Burnley team, and they need to make sure that they don't get dragged into the relegation fight. Like, this is a surefire way. Like, this is 3 free points to let them get away from this mess that Spurs are in.
Okay, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, I can, if you're chasing, I think Calvert-Lewin or Cherky are both really good picks for differential. But I would probably lean towards Calvert-Lewin as well. Home, especially, like, that's the only thing that has me nervous about the Holland pick, is he's much better at home than he is away. And away to Everton, I mean, I'm not expecting a haul from him, but I've just got to protect against effective ownership.
Yeah, that's smart, Mike. Smart move. Okay, yes. Well, I am protecting in some of these, but you know me, I always just take risks just because I like to. I can't. Yeah, I can't. I've got to go a little bit off piece, but I might stick with Calvert-Lewin just for you, Wazza. Yeah,
please
see
do.
How we go.
Before we sign off, we actually have a question from long-time listener Patrick Malarkey, and he's actually for what feels like a lifetime, he's actually asked a pretty decent question here.
You always say this. You always say this, and it never is.
No, not always. Sometimes it's to spike the punch. But he has asked a very poignant question, which is what has won this season? Like, what has been the best thing this season for a team? The schedule or the quality of players that they have? Because you look at, for example, one side of the Champions League with Bayern and PSG, they have great players, but their schedules have been far more forgiving, and so their players have been able to actually do a lot better. And then you look at on the other side, like Arsenal is probably the absolute epitome of this, where quote unquote their schedule has been pretty packed, and the quality of their players, although they're good, like, it doesn't feel like it's enough. So, like, what has really had the biggest impact on a team's season here? Like, is it having the best players, or is it like having a more forgiving schedule?
So, I mean, I'll answer this in cut. So Patrick, this actually isn't a horrible quit. Like, so what? This is actually definitely better than normal. So this is appreciated, first of all. So thank you. It is growth. I was thinking about like player of the season. There's a lot of chat about Bruno Fernandes, right? For the player of the season.
I don't think the assist record.
But Mike, but I don't think he'll have played 40 games this year. Like, so there is an element of like, yeah, you've got one competition, like you're doing one thing, whereas you've got like Declan Rice will have played, I don't know by the end of the season how many games he'll have played, but it'll be a hell of a lot more. Any Arsenal player, a hell of a lot more than the amount of games that Bruno. So I do think that does count for something in terms of, because I always say the same thing, right? I do think your schedule, like you look at the Champions League, that has a huge impact. Like again, and that's part of like luck, right? And you make your own luck. I mean, last year Liverpool did the Arsenal in the Champions League and got screwed over by the schedule, right? So it just can work out different ways. This year it panned out where that actually favored them massively. I don't think Arsenal would have got nearly as deep in the Champions League this year based on what I know they've done well in that competition, but I genuinely think that would have struggled against some of these teams in the other half of the draw. So yeah, I do think that the schedule has a massive impact. Man United will be nowhere near where they are with more competitions. I don't know what you think, Mike, but I think that's
I completely agree. I think it's absolutely the schedule has had a huge impact. And even if you just look at the game against Athletico, I think because Arsenal has been challenging for all of these things and was in 4 different competitions at one time, Atletico is so cut adrift from what's going on in La Liga that doesn't matter in the season. Rest everybody because it's all about going all in on Champions League. And so I absolutely think the schedule is.
Do you know what it is, Mike, as well? Thing. Like the Arsenal, like that as well. That Arsenal game, like you play a better team, you should be playing a great team. See if they had to go to Paris or something like that, they would be. I would say Fulham will be like you'd be goosed. Whereas actually the first half they managed it. They had the ball for most of the first half, so that's helpful. But in terms of fantasy, I think. I say this, Mike. You think the fixture difficulty rating is almost always the clearest indicator of like good outcomes, right? And in terms of like the first thing you go to is you look at, like you said, Mike, about the way players perform at home versus away, teams home versus like it is, and it's not always perfect, but it's a really good. If you just want to be lazy, look at that, make your picks based on that. Generally speaking, it will help more than any other one data point. If that, I don't know if you agree, Mike. That's my view.
Yeah, I think so. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, there you go, Patrick. Well, listen, keep them coming, Patrick. This is good progress. But listen, that's us now. We're at time. Look at that, just perfectly on time. Thanks everyone for listening, and as always, we'll like, subscribe. We'll see you on the socials. They're up leveling thanks to fantastic Boston Mike. But yeah, have a good weekend, everyone. Enjoy the football.
Cheers all.
Go on, Harry Wilson.